The show must go on. The show must go on, freaks. What is up, freaks? Welcome back to Rabbit Hole Recap. A little later than expected. Took me a while to get to my destination. Then when I finally got here, my room wasn't ready, so I'm here recording from a roof deck pool with a bunch of people looking at me like I'm a fucking freak. So should be an interesting rip.
You are a freak.
I am a freak. I'm also using my phone's 5G for Wi-Fi because if you don't have a room, you don't have a room number and a last name to put in for the free Wi-Fi.
They wouldn't give you Wi-Fi?
Wouldn't give me Wi-Fi. They just gave me a wristband and said you can go hang out by the pool. You fucking loser.
Well, as you said, the show must go on. We're not going to skip a week. So sometimes we do have technical difficulties, but we make it happen regardless.
We do. What a week. What a week, Matthew. I sort of want to talk about what we were talking about before, but I know you don't want to, so I'm not going to force you to.
Yeah, let's just let it play out.
Let's let it play out.
I was completely next week.
Completely clueless. Was completely unaware of anything going on outside of the car that I was in for the last 3 hours.
You had rental car issues too, supposedly?
Rental car issues showed up. Literally pulling off the exit to the rental car to Hertz, and I get a text, your reservation's been canceled. And so I had to show up, and I had to wait for another car to show up before I could leave. It's been a morning. It's been a week. Got the keys to the house in Austin, Texas, and sleeping on a mattress on the floor, no furniture, in true Bitcoin fashion.
Is it just you, or did your lady and child join you?
It was just me and my wife until Wednesday. My wife went back to B. It's the elements outside. You gotta adjust the outside elements. My wife went home yesterday. She's back home with our son. I'll be bringing them back in about a month. We'll move in full time, but I'll be back and forth between here and the Northeast for the next couple weeks. A lot of things going on in Texas related to Bitcoin and oil and gas. That's why I'm in Houston right now. There's a huge oil and gas conference, and I'm here to shill how Bitcoin can make these oil and gas producers more profitable.
And I guess next week's Rabbit Hole Recap is going to be on Saturday because it's going to be a live rip, right?
Yes, sir.
At BitBlock Boom. So I'm excited to see you again. It's been a minute.
Has been quite a bit.
So that's important to the freaks. Don't prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. There will not be a Thursday Rabbit Hole Recap. It will be probably released on Sunday because we will do the live in person rip and then presumably get drunk and eat dinner, and then Marty will probably post it at like 3 p.m. the next day, judging by historical
that'll probably happen. If we know anything that's going on, I'll probably fly home first thing in the morning on Sunday. I usually beeline it out of there, fly home, and then post it when I get home.
Oh, you're flying back to the Northeast.
Yeah, a lot to tie up before we make the official move. So vibes are high down here, Matt. You got to get down here. I'm
literally going to be there next week.
I know, but you got to move down here. It's going to be.
We'll see.
Come on, let's do it. We can take over. We can take over Texas. Us Northeast boys. I don't know about that, but very good time last night. I know you called these guys out yesterday, but I did go to the official launch of the Zion app last night.
You were at the official launch?
Official launch party, yeah, I was there. I went there with Nine Gentry.
You sent out your bent after the official launch?
Yeah. I was sorry if the bent was a little nonsensical and drunk. I was in my mattress on the floor writing that after a long day.
Sphinx Chat is an open source project. It's licensed by the MIT license, which is one of the least restrictive licenses in open source world. It's a proper free open source project, which means you can do whatever you want with it. You can even fork the code and make it closed source. Zion indeed forked the code of Sphinx Chat, which, like I said, is fine. That's how open source works. Supposedly, they discussed it with Paul, the founder of Sphinx, before they did it as well, which is good measure. But their website and the screenshot you included in the bent says they're the first social media network built on Bitcoin. And they literally forked a project that's been doing it for what, like a year and a half beforehand. So to me, it's like a very clear unethical marketing behavior. The interface looks exactly the same. I don't see any major differences they've even made. And meanwhile, they're saying it's the first social media network on Bitcoin. When, I mean, I think it's arguable that Sphinx wasn't even the first, but if you, obviously Sphinx came before them, they fucking forked it.
I think I made that clear in the newsletter. I agree. I think the marketing of first social media company built on, or app built on Bitcoin is a bit stretching the truth, if you will.
It's legit. It's objectively false.
Yes, I would agree. I would give that mantle to Sphinx. I don't know who else came before them, but I don't know. I think I've been hanging out with Justin this week. I met him in Miami down Bitcoin 2021. I got dinner with him on Sunday with a couple of oil and gas people as well. And I think what they're doing, I think the execution of the launch may not be in line with what what you would deem as like ethical, but I think it's a good thing that Zion's being built and the people that are involved. I think what Zion represents is people outside of Bitcoin that wouldn't necessarily consider themselves Bitcoiners beginning to build apps on Bitcoin, which is what you want to see.
They forked an existing project and then they pretended it was revolutionary during the launch. Do you know Justin? You know Justin? What are they adding?
They're adding like Instagram features and other stuff like that as well.
Have they added it yet?
Video features? I think so. Yeah, I've seen the demo that I saw. They have like video features and stuff like that.
Welcome to the podcast, people who walk by. I look forward to more people walking by. Marty's on kind of a tight schedule, so we're going to keep this kind of tight. But before we continue from this topic, since Marty brought it up, I wasn't even going to discuss it. I was going to do a friendly non talk about it. But if you're going to bring it up, you realize that Justin, the founder, was 30 under 30 in Forbes, right? In 2017.
I did not know that.
Do you know what he got it for?
What?
Marketing, because that company that he founded was called Amplify, and their strategy, they revolutionized influencer paid marketing.
Yes, I knew that. I knew the company that he started. I didn't know it was Forbes 30 under 30.
So I have no opinion on that. I'm just stating that as that's his resume.
Yes, I agree. His goal's been to get content creators paid, and he's using Bitcoin to do it now. And again, I was discussing this with Ryan Gentry last night. Like there's going to be a wave of these types of apps and these types of builders that come in that again aren't necessarily Bitcoiners, but you realize the utility that the Bitcoin, the asset, and the network provides to individuals. I think it's cool that they're partnering with like a big YouTuber who's got like 5 million subscribers and they're focusing on Bitcoin only. This is a win for Bitcoin, I think.
Is it interoperable with existing Sphinx clients?
I don't know about that. I don't think it's podcasting 2.0 compatible.
Well, regardless of podcasting 2.0, podcasting 2.0, I would say is separate of Sphinx. But the clients can't communicate with each other.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not well versed on the
like with Sphinx, if you take a Lightning public key of a Sphinx user, you can then communicate with them privately, send videos, send messages. If I take a public key, a Lightning node public key of a Zion user and put it in my Sphinx chat app, I wonder if I could communicate with them.
We'll see. I don't know. It's starting to rain here. This is like everything that could go wrong is going wrong.
You're not undercover either, are you?
No. There are some umbrellas over here. Maybe I can ask them to open them up. But
okay, should we just jump into Clark Moody's dashboard before it starts blowing on you?
Get to Clark's dashboard. Current price of Bitcoin is $45,645. One cuckbuck's going to get you 2,191 sats. The current market cap of Bitcoin is $857.7 billion. We are block height 696,558. That means we are 111 blocks away from block 696969. Prepare, freak. 696969. 111 blocks away. That was the fastest Uncle Marty math that's ever been done on this podcast. We are 978 blocks away from the next difficulty target. Wow. Retarget, excuse me, which is estimated to be an 11.2% increase in difficulty. That is because blocks are coming in at 8 minutes and 58 seconds on average. And that retarget date is estimated to be on August 25th, 2021, which is 6 days from now. There are currently 5,218 transactions in Clark's mempool. I think that's the highest it's been in a few weeks, but still pitifully low. I don't want to say pitifully low. It's just low.
Like I said last time, when large hash is coming onto the network within a difficulty period, it's gonna clear the mempools. Yeah. I mean, I was in front of everyone saying, look at the mempools, they're empty as fuck while the difficulty was going down. But we at least should not be taking too much stock in it until we have this mass. Because what's the increase estimated to be right now?
11.2%.
11.2. That's massive. That's a massive increase. So
that's a big increase. I can confirm that Great American Mining has contributed to the increase in hash rate between now and the last difficulty. We added 45 petahash to the network, so you're welcome for speeding up blocks if that's what you're looking for. What else are we looking at? What's going on in Samurai Whirlpool? We currently have 3,980.99 BTC in unspent capacity. It's 181.8 million cuck bucks worth of Bitcoin. It's lower. It was above 4,000, wasn't it?
What's it at now?
3,980.
Yeah, it was over 4,000 for a little bit.
Yeah. So that's Clark's dashboard. Where should we start? You want to start with Afghanistan? You don't have it on the list, but I've been wanting to talk about this all week.
Shoot your shot.
I mean, I think pulling out was going to be bad no matter what. I think the extent to which the Department of Justice, Department of Defense, the executive branch were unaware of just how quickly things would devolve, and the fact that they left all these weapons, and it's just a complete shit show. Makes us look weak as fuck. Joe Biden's response, I think it's pretty evident now that Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. He's going through some form of mental decay. He can't even answer questions. He came out and did a press conference about the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Wouldn't answer any questions about Afghanistan. And it just really shows how weak the federal government is, how it puts us in a weird spot, man. China's going to try and take over.
Taiwan is fucked.
Taiwan is fucked.
Zero shot. There's zero shot we stand up for Taiwan.
Well, this has an effect on Bitcoin. Taiwan is one of the two semiconductor facilities where Bitcoin ASICs, Bitmains specifically, are manufactured. Like, how does a Chinese takeover of Taiwan affect the supply chain for ASICs? If that happens, then the only reliable foundry, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Chinese government will allow TSMC to continue building ASICs for Bitcoin mining, but I don't think that's something we should depend on. If they do clamp down on it, then we're stuck with South Korea and Samsung's foundry. Hopefully, we can get some foundries spun up here in a timely manner to make up for that.
You don't think that China already has like soft control over those foundries? Like, obviously the control will increase. Not South Korea, in Taiwan.
I don't know. If you look the way TSMC, semiconductor manufacturer, TSCM, I always mix up the M and the C.
It's okay. It's like PSBTs.
Yeah, they've been posturing like they've been trying to get out of Taiwan because they're worried about these Chinese pressures. I think the company specifically understands the political risks that they have being centrally located in Taiwan, but I believe they, I wouldn't be surprised. I think they definitely feel soft pressure from that political influence that China has over Taiwan. So things are heating up, man. We're getting into a weird part of human history. This is
definitely
I'm happy to be in Texas. I was right the first time. It's TSMC. Thank you.
Gotta love the correction to an incorrect acronym.
But again, like this, it's like all you lovely Houstonian people here at the pool. What the fuck are we doing? Like, how can we trust this federal government? Like, what? Like, how can we have any sense of respect for this completely inept part of the United States country, like of our country? Like, we should completely be ignoring the federal government. They're fucking incompetent. It's completely obvious right now. Like, why are we allowing ourselves to be led by a bunch of fucking retarded assholes? Like, they don't know anything. They're not competent at all. They're evil. They're corrupt. They're controlled by lobbyists. The war in Afghanistan, 20 fucking years. It was a huge money laundering operation to all the fucking war machine contractors. And they leave all of the fucking guns. They leave all the missiles. They leave a shit ton of helicopters, Air Force equipment, and now they're just in the hands of the Taliban. It's almost as if it's part of the controlled demolition that the federal government or some parts of the federal government have been embarking on for decades. Like, we spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan. It fell apart in 3 fucking days. Are you kidding me? Like, how can we ever like have confidence that this government can do anything competently moving forward?
I think we spent $1 billion on the embassy in Kabul too. I love the guests that are walking by.
Yeah, I do too. A lot of them got to hit the weight room.
They definitely think you're like a crazy person.
I am a crazy person, Matt. World is driving me crazy. It's driving me insane. It's
Cameron in the chat. Marty looks like a hurricane chaser on Weather Channel.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm weathering the storm down in Texas.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everything just looks really weak. It looks super weak. I'm not a military.
We look like a bunch of bitches. We look like a bunch of bitches.
There's a million ways it could have been handled better, but you know, our time is kind of short here, so I think we should jump into the Bitcoin stuff.
We'll jump into it, but this highlight, this is we're gonna transition into Bitcoin because this highlights why we should be building out these parallel systems that allow us to opt out of the incompetence of this federal government that just takes your tax money. They tax you more and more and more year on year on year. They want more control over you, and they can't even fucking exit a war without complete catastrophe and a power vacuum happening and just literally arming the Taliban. They just literally left all the
evacuate
weapons.
our people. Like fucking insane.
Can't even evacuate tens of thousands of people. And they come on and they're like, oh, they're more worried about fucking hanging pride flags at the fucking embassy in Kabul than actually doing competent military like execution. It's like,
did you see?
We're clown world. It's fucking.
Did you see? We forced the U.S. government, the U.S. Army forced digital IDs and biometrics, facial scans, iris scans, and fingerprints on a huge subsection of the Afghan populace, including collaborators like people who work with us. And now the Taliban has access to that database, and they probably will be using it to target opposition, which is like a perfect example of how data collection programs like KYC and transaction tracking in Bitcoin can then be used by future actors because the database is there and it's not secured.
Yeah. And was that just a testing ground to come bring that home? We had New York just ninja launch fucking vaccine passports along with ID. And it's so funny how hypocritical it is. You have to show an ID with your vaccine passport, but you don't have to do it to vote. ID voting laws are racist, but when you apply it to vaccine passports, it's completely fine.
And we already see people on Twitter like routing out businesses that don't comply with it. I was supposed to go to a wedding next week in New York City, and I had a hotel booked. I had dinner reservations booked, and now they require you to show a vaccine a vaccine passport, their digital vaccine passport that's supposedly powered by blockchain technology. And I refused to comply with that shit. So I canceled my hotel. I canceled my dinner reservation, and they can have fun staying poor.
Yeah. And for everybody out there ratting, like, look what's going on in Australia. Look what's going on in New Zealand. Look what's happening here in the United States. Like, there are modern day Nazis running around ratting out their neighbors, fucking complying, getting on their knees, like fucking teachers' pets, ratting everybody out, and literally unaware of the fact that they were doing the same thing that the Germans did when the Nazis took over, slowly but surely, ratting out their neighbors. There are modern day Nazis, and they think they're fucking virtuous people. There was an incredible clip of Jordan Peterson explaining this. If you think you never be a Nazi, you'll never do that. Most people in Nazi Germany were Nazis at the end of the day. Like, it was a majority of people. So if you're sitting there and you're welcoming in vaccine passports, you're welcoming in interstate vaccine verification to move, you are what the Nazis were back then. I know this makes people very triggered to basically harken back to what happened in Nazi Germany. No, you're not exactly what the Nazis were and doing the exact same things targeting Jews, but you're essentially doing exactly what they did with this whole unvaccinated, vaccinated, vaccine passports, movement restrictions. Like, it's fucking happening right now. And if you don't realize that, if you're pushing it, you're saying, go get your vaccine, just comply, you are part of the problem. You need to shut the fuck up and realize, like, things are not well. Look around. Like, do not trust the people telling you this. It's coming from the same people that fucked up in Iraq or fucked up in Afghanistan and are creating incredible problems for all of humanity. We need to walk away from these assholes. I'm happy to be in Texas where I can finally fucking buy some guns. Not that I would ever want to use them, only in self-defense. Only in self-defense. Matt, I'm sorry. I know this makes you uncomfortable, but this shit has to be said. It's getting to a point where, like, we're getting close to a point of no return. If people don't stand up and tell these people to fuck off.
In Canada, they're not. I think they just made it so you can't get on a train or a plane without a vaccine passport, even domestic travel.
Nope. Australia, they're building literal quarantine zones, gulags to fucking. They're fucking ripping kids out of parents' hands and, like, forcefully vaccinating children. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And if people keep, like, encouraging this stuff and just saying, just get it, what's the problem, like, blah, blah, you're part of the problem. If you don't realize that, there's something seriously wrong with you. With that being said, there's a beautiful crowdfunding campaign, bitcoinsmiles.org. It's looking to raise Bitcoin to get dental care to Salvadorians. Incredible initiative, spearheaded by BTC Pay Server, correct?
Correct. And a couple other organizations. I don't know them off the top of my head. I apologize. But it's a great initiative. Everyone should go to bitcoinsmiles.org and send them a few sats. Show them the power of good that Bitcoin is.
Yes. Yes. Highlight the fact that we don't need the states to do this stuff. We don't need the federal government. We don't need these assholes, these demonic, evil people. How about the World Health Organization video? Did you know about that heartbeat identification thing?
No, I didn't. I realized it because of the WEF video.
Right.
So they say that they can track us by our heartbeats with a laser from like 200 feet away, an invisible laser from 200 feet away.
Yeah. So if I'm sitting here and they can get the laser on my heart for 25 seconds, they can identify who I am. It's fucking.
And that's where, like, the smartwatches and activity trackers come in, right? They're like modern day cattle tags. You can get all that information from them because you need a base reading first, right, to know who everyone is.
Yeah, and the other thing too, like the weird trick that they use. I don't know if it's linguistic, but they said they want to use that because facial recognition with people wearing masks doesn't work well. So they're like basically preparing people to wear masks for the rest of their lives. This is fucking sick. I'm done with it.
The classic model.
I'm being radicalized. I'm being radicalized in real time, Matt. Fuck these people.
The classic model. I mean, Marty, there's people in this world that will use everything that we say publicly against us in the future. So Yeah, I'm never gonna
I don't
censor
care.
you. I want you to speak
I
your
don't
mind.
care.
I want you to say. I want you to speak your heart out, Marty. But also respect the
Somebody's got
fact
to say
that
this shit.
sometimes I just will not respond to. I will not have this discussion at
I know.
all.
I know.
But the classic mo is that you use multiple methods, right? So you use facial recognition combined with this heartbeat stuff. You use it in combination with phone tracking. You know, I was at a like a tens of thousands of person concert last week,
Ooh, who was it?
and everyone in their pockets has a phone, right? And that phone is connected to a carrier that's connected to your name. So the lowest hanging fruit is that they can pretty much tell every single person who's there just by the phone, right? And then some people don't have the phone, so then you combine it with facial recognition. I doubt this heartbeat thing is like actually in the wild right now, but the heartbeat thing.
Yeah. Yeah. The heartbeat thing's scary. They just like flung that. Hey, you're gonna be wearing a mask. We're gonna need to check your
I,
heartbeat to identify you.
you asked. I was at 3 days of Fish in Atlantic
Oh,
City, 50,000 people, and maybe 5% were wearing masks.
we're at 3 days of fish in Atlantic City, less than 20 miles away from me, and you didn't think to text me and say, "Hey,
You weren't there. You were in Texas.
I got to Texas on Sunday."
Yeah, it was. Those were the 3 days.
I'm sorry. It's been a long week. It's been a long week.
I have to say, like, concerts have new. It feels kind of like a resistance thing as well.
Yeah.
Not just music and enjoying yourself. You know, it's like people that aren't scared and are willing to come out and be real people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I wish there was more of that. I wish there was. Well, down here in Texas, there is a lot. Even in Austin.
You're right. I should have mentioned to you that I was in Atlantic City for
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah. I feel
It kind of just came. It came together kind of last minute, and I just said yes. And I wasn't really the coordinator. I was just the yes man. I like saying yes.
I have a buddy out there from college who he used to travel from Chicago to New York whenever Fish would play Madison Square Garden. He would drag me with him. He's like, I got nobody to go with. You got to come with me. And I just eat a bunch of edibles and go. And like by the end of the show, I was just like too baked out on edibles, and it was just overwhelming at Madison Square Garden. I'd have to walk out at the end of the Fish show. Like I need to get out of here.
It's pretty crazy in Madison Square Garden. I've been there at Madison Square Garden, but we have MG Blazer saying all these concerts requiring negative test or passport. They didn't require anything like that. It was just they didn't require masks. They didn't require negative tests. They didn't require vaccine passports. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone if they required vaccine passports. My dog's being really annoying, so I'm gonna go let her in. You continue.
Yeah, just lean on. I mean, I've been living in South Jersey, not too far from Atlantic City, for the last 2 years almost, and there are pockets in these areas that tend to be pretty Orwellian that are pretty based. South Jersey is one of them. Cape May County, Atlantic County. Everybody down there is pretty down for the cause year round. There's not too many people living there, and it's small communities, close communities, and they get it. And I've been living down there for the last 2 years, and things have been pretty normal. Only 80 miles away from Philadelphia, 180 miles away from New York, which is good to see. God, freaks, I'm sorry. Uncle Marty's heated. He just got out of a long car ride. Hotel room's not ready. Had to push back. The rental car wasn't ready. I've been sleeping on a mattress on the floor all week. I've been stretched thin. I'm going to try and relax from here on out. Maybe I should have an edible. Let's get on with the Bitcoin news. We only have like 40 minutes left. BitMEX.
I just want to say, Marty, cool. First of all, I love you, brother. We had a freak who like tweeted at me and you and was like, Matt's salty about your success at Great American Mining. I just want to be absolutely clear that I fucking love what you're building at Great American Mining.
I don't know why anybody would
doesn't. Sometimes you've become more obsessed with mining, so it might come off that I'm a little bit salty, but it's just, it's like, oh, Marty's going on a mining tangent again. But I absolutely love what you guys are building, and it's super important, and I think it's going to change the world for the better. So
Thank you. And I don't know. I've never gotten the inclination that freak had. So
That's good. I'm glad, because it made me
Yeah.
feel bad, and I was like, that's not what I meant, to put out
I don't
there,
think
if
I've
that's the
never felt
case.
that way. I've never had that felt like you are salty about Great American Mining. With that being said, what about the? I know we both didn't like or respond to this, but we had another freak asking us to comment on BIP 300 DriveChains. Like
I think it's
I had
vaporware.
I had Paul Stork on the podcast a year and a half ago, maybe more than that now at this point, to explain BIP 300. I don't know. Shinobi has really good pushback about the incentive of miners to steal the
Yeah,
UTXOs locked in that drive chain.
it's super
And
contentious. It changes the
yeah,
incentives of miners. And as we know in Bitcoin, contentious changes are very hard to happen. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a waste of our time unless that changes.
yeah. It's still honestly like I just don't feel comfortable enough saying speaking on it with any authority other than the pushback on it is that miner incentive changed, which is pretty significant. I would argue if it is actually does change the incentives of those miners, because essentially like UTXO is held in limbo and the miners could collude to steal it. Paul would argue that they won't collude to steal it because they're economically incentivized to not do that and keep facilitating the drive chain going. But
The
the
beauty of
attack vectors there,
Bitcoin,
you could have.
the beauty of Bitcoin, one of the beauties of Bitcoin compared to something like Ethereum is that the miner incentives are very straightforward. Um, they're very simple. When you add something like this, it adds some complexity to that incentive structure.
Yeah, there's one
And if
unknown
a drive
unknowns.
chain gets too big, for instance, there's more incentive to attack than would otherwise be the case if it doesn't exist. That's my basic understanding. But like I said, if it gets past this proposal phase, then we'll talk about it more. I don't think we've been intentionally ignoring it. There's so much to cover, and I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, and it's the push for drive chains specifically revolves around the low fee levels and the relatively low fee market on the Bitcoin blockchain right now. And I think it's just too early to worry about this. People would say, "Oh, you're naive, Marty," but think about it. Like if the masses, like exert patience. Like Bitcoin's so small from an adoption standpoint right now, and it's just because most people don't need Bitcoin yet, like it or love it. It's just a simple fact. I mean,
Well,
maybe Matt would argue everybody needs it, but they don't realize they need it yet.
everyone needs Bitcoin. They just don't realize it yet.
Yeah, exactly. The adoption's going to come, and like we see, like the confidence in the U.S. federal government's ability to facilitate anything is starting to wane pretty significantly, and the degradation of a monetary goods purchasing power is two parts. It's the supply that gets diluted via printing, and then it's confidence in it too. It's social and mechanical, right? There's two aspects to it. We have both. We have them printing a shit ton of money and people losing confidence at a quickening pace at the same time.
The main argument I've seen for BIP 300 drive chains, among the recent resurgence in this idea of that we should adopt drive chains among the larger community, has been this idea that we can't have shitcoin features backed into Bitcoin, in some way backed into Bitcoin, and we can eat the shitcoin's lunch. That is a ridiculous premise. It's a false narrative. It's a feature, not a bug, that we don't have the shitcoin features. There's no we're gonna the shitcoins are all trending to zero regardless if we add BIP 300. If anything, adding something before you actually understand the full incentives could be detrimental to that expectation. So I would just say to people, just chill the fuck out. Like, don't be so insecure about Bitcoin. We don't need, we don't need that.
No, we don't. And again, I tweeted out today, like at the base layer, all this stuff, all that matters at the base layer is hash rate, and below that hash rate is energy. Like people don't realize that Bitcoin is an energy revolution as much as it is a monetary and technological revolution. And it's three-part: energy, tech, that enables a sound monetary system in the digital age. The energy is the base of all of it, and Bitcoin has won that battle. Like there's everybody else, and that's the funny thing about it. All the altcoins, everybody's like, "Oh my god, they are completely neglecting energy. They're turning away from it. They're saying, "Oh, we're gonna go proof of stake." They're like virtue signaling about the environment. It's like hilarious because it's a completely wrong thing to do. Like have fun virtue signaling about the environment, transitioning proof of stake. Bitcoin is the idea of a currency with an energy backing, or like the melding of the energy in the digital world brought to fruition. And a bunch of idiots who want to virtue signal about the environment and virtue signal about feature sets are completely missing the point. And I will gladly ignore them while they go down there. I am not worried about Bitcoin. The utility that it provides the world is unlike any other technology or monetary good has ever existed in the history of the world. We were just so fucking early, and people don't understand it, that it's just the adoption isn't what people want it to be. And I understand the feeling too. Everybody here that understands Bitcoin and really gets what's going on and understands the revolutionary aspect of it, the breakthroughs of it, they're like, why doesn't everybody get this? Most people don't care. Look at all these people walking up here on the pools. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They're just worried about getting wet right now. They will care when they go up to the bar here and they have to buy a Corona and it's $45 instead of $15. They're okay with the move from like 7 to 15. It's like, all right, it's like a little taller can. When it goes to 45, they're like, all right, this is getting a little expensive. What's going on here? When that point hits, people will start to ask the questions, why is this happening? And then Bitcoin will be there waiting. If you build it, they will come. It is being built. Don't worry.
100%. Are you going to the Austin BitDev? Yeah, I mean, you're obviously not, right? Because you're in Houston. You're not going to BitDevs. BitDevs is tonight, right?
Yeah,
Austin
BitDev's tonight in Austin. Yeah, I've got a dinner tonight in Houston, flying out of Houston tomorrow morning. So yeah, I had that event in Austin last night. So just moved to Austin, missed the first BitDevs of after getting the house. But I will be back in Houston next week for the BitDevs meetup down here. So if you're in the Houston,
yeah, sorry,
next Wednesday, if you're in the Houston area, there's a BitDevs meetup down here. So definitely,
and you'll be there for that one.
Yes.
But anyway, that's an important shout out for the Austin BitDevs. If you're in Austin, consider going. It's a great experience. I mean, I haven't been to the Austin one, but BitDevs is a great experience, and I love the guys who run the Austin one. So
yeah, I've been to the Austin one, and it is a great experience. The Unchained team needs to get a new office because they pack it tight in there. There was like 200 people when I came in April, and it was hot. Shout out to, I don't know if we want to dox his real name, but a friend of ours who started the Nashville BitDevs meetup. They had their first meetup last night. Yeah, and it was BitKite. Yeah, it was It was a raving success. We were messaging with him this morning, and apparently we had some out of towners show up. A very strong showing for the first BitDevs meetup in Nashville. So if you're in Nashville and you're looking to congregate with other Bitcoiners, that meetup will be more consistent here on out. That was the
Nashville Bitcoin community is strong as fuck. They're very underrated. They don't get a lot of limelight.
Yeah. Shout out to all these BitDevs popping up. We know we need them now. I hope this guy walks by. BitMEX demonstrates new proof of reserves and liabilities method. I thought this was cool. I thought this was pretty novel too. Basically creating a proof of reserves mechanism that allows you to confirm the assets and the liabilities. Obviously, BitMEX has that huge insurance fund, which I imagine helped pay for the the fines that they had to pay the CFTC. Or
I like to think they sent it directly from the insurance fund wallet.
Right. What do you think about this? I thought it was pretty novel. The way they explain it.
It's a cool concept.
You can download the files. You can prove for yourself.
It's mostly a proof of concept, right? They're not actively doing it yet.
No, but I downloaded some of the files and I started messing around with my CLI, and like you can do it. You can do it yourself.
No, but I mean, they're not publishing updates.
No, they just had that one example.
Right. This is the example, and the ideal is that they and other exchanges constantly publish updates so you can verify, right?
Yeah. This is
the idea is you want basically the idea of proof of reserves is this idea that you want to make sure if if a certain number of Bitcoin is supposedly being held by an exchange, they actually hold the Bitcoin instead of like a Mt. Gox situation where they didn't have the Bitcoin that they said they had. But the issue with that is you also have this issue of liabilities, which is oftentimes the liabilities are not Bitcoin based. So it's hard. You don't have like necessarily chain data to prove the liabilities, right? And they came up with like kind of a novel way of publishing and verifying the liability side.
Yeah. Shout out to BitMEX. Fighting through a lot of adversity, if you will, and still producing good stuff. And obviously, we talked about it last week, but they weren't the ones that gave the grant to John Attack. That was Compass in the HRF.
I think someone else gave it. Who else gave John a grant? Someone
I'm not
previously
sure.
before Compass gave John Attack.
I thought Square Crypto had him on their grant list at one point. I could be wrong.
I don't know, but he deserves it.
He does. Shout out to John.
I think our OpenSats grants are going to finally roll out for like a week or two away from rolling them out.
Boss, are we gonna see Ben at
Yeah, he'll be
at
next
week.
He must. I mean, I don't know if he's got to be there. I would be surprised if he's not.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, with OpenSats, like we kind of run it like an open source project. No one takes any money out, so we have delays as a result because we have no full-time employees. But yeah, we're working on it. We're working on it behind the scenes. We appreciate everyone's patience.
Gotta have
the next one.
I got my high school.
We had Bull Bitcoin acquired Verify, which I think is a great mashup. Both Canadian teams. Verify has been very big so that's Verify with a PH, VERIPHI. They've been very big in the education space. They have fantastic write-ups, very detailed write-ups on a lot of times very technical things, but also on more basic things. One of the best education teams in the space. And now they're joining Bull Bitcoin, full acquire. All the employees and the founders of Verify are going over to Bull Bitcoin, and they're launching an international self-custody, self-sovereignty, basically like customer service operation that is financed from Bull Bitcoin's operations. So love to see that. Would love to see more on-ramps take a hint there and start providing. I know River has been pretty good about education in terms of Swan has been very good about education in terms of their customer base, but more steps to basically help your users take self-sovereignty and hold their own keys and use their own node.
Yeah, huge shout out to the Verify team. Some base Bitcoiners up there. Shout out to Bull Bitcoin, Francis and team. Doing it the right way. They're proving business models, and BitMEX the same thing with their proof of reserves and the way they do their whole business where it's Bitcoin only. Like you can build these new business models on Bitcoin and do things a different way. And companies like Verify, Bull Bitcoin, BitMEX are proving that. We just need more. Swan, Unchained Capital, we put in there, disclaimer, sponsor the pod, and others are pushing that forward. So
still kills me inside that BitMEX is like full KYC regulated.
They had
to. I do appreciate the work they do.
They had to.
Yep.
You know what you're gonna.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it is inevitable.
Big enough.
Well, speaking of that, we'll skip. We don't even have to skip BitMEX, Deribit, Binance, Bitfinex, and others are using Shift for the travel.
30 other exchanges are as well.
Tisk
are using the same protocol to share addresses. So Bitcoin addresses or other cryptocurrency addresses, I presume, that they hold, so that everyone knows which addresses are the KYC exchanges addresses, and they're also sharing KYC information. So this is the tip of the iceberg of the kind of restrictions we're going to see on private Bitcoin usage, and a lot of it's just happening behind the scenes, and there's no bullish tilt to it. So your favorite news Twitter account isn't really telling you about it because there's no bullish spin on it. It's just happening behind the scenes. Your information is getting shared, and all these exchanges are colluding with each other.
Yeah. They're falling prey to the travel rule, a guideline presented by the Financial Action Task Force, an unelected, bureaucratic entity out of France, sup, bruh, that is here to tell you what to do. You didn't elect them. You didn't ask for them. You don't know who they are. You don't know why they have any power, but they do have power over you. And they have power over the exchanges. And the exchanges bend the knee. They give them this information, hook, line, and sinker. They're here, take it. I want to make my fiat cut bucks. I want to be fiat rich. Part of a zeitgeist here, freaks. We're part of a revolution. We need to start fighting back against these people. And Kate, we will never stop cussing, okay? I know you're hearing this over. We're never going to stop fucking cursing. I'm sorry, Kate. Okay? This is... Matt, I don't know if it's the day, the week I've had. Maybe I'm going a little crazy here. But it's like, why are we... Who's going to have balls? Who's going to step up? The federal government isn't going to do it. States are doing it. Some states are doing it. That's why I'm in Texas. Are there any companies in this space? Are there any exchanges? Anybody? I would imagine Bull Bitcoin, Swans of the world, Rivers of the world. I think they have some balls. I think they'd stand up against this. They'd put their counsel to work to try to protect their customers and from these Orwellian travel rule, like data collection processes, compliance processes that are forced on them. I think they're out there. We need more of this. BitMEX, Bitfinex, Binance come out of the gate marking themselves as I'm not gonna. I mean, Bitfinex is obviously, or excuse me, BitMEX has had their legal troubles, but like Binance and shit like that, we talked about it many times. They come out with a no KYC AML exchange, like come in, they get everybody in, and then they just tuck everybody out of the gate. Like it's who has balls.
BitMEX gave everyone a month warning.
Yes.
Binance just shotgun KYC'd people and said, you can't withdraw unless you give us a facial scan. So there's a difference, and it's important to highlight that difference. I think if you do end up bending the knee, you should at least try and do right by your users as much as possible.
Agreed.
And a warning does do that.
Where are the strong men and women in this world? Do they exist anymore? Does anybody have principle? Does anybody have the gusto, the balls, the initiative to stand up and say, hey, this is enough. Enough is enough. This is insanity. I don't even know if you have it on the list. T-Mobile, 100 million records, social security numbers, telephone numbers, address,
on the list.
Identifying it, gone. 100 million out the window. And actually, it's hilarious. As we're saying this right now, I get a text from my dad. He got a notice from T-Mobile. Here's what it says. T-Mobile has determined that unauthorized access to some of your personal data has occurred. We have no evidence that your debit/credit card information was compromised. They have no evidence, so they don't even fucking know. We take the protection of our customers seriously. We are taking actions to protect your T-Mobile account, and we recommend that you take action to protect your credit. Read more here.
They're probably going to give you some bullshit 2-year ID protection or whatever. It's fucking garbage.
Yeah, my dad texted back, you blow. How about for every spam call I receive, you forward T-Mobile users. T-Mobile owes me $1.
This was the data that was included in the T-Mobile League. Social security numbers, phone numbers, names, physical addresses, IMEI numbers, which is the unique identifier of your phone, and driver license information. 100 million users. Customers.
Gone. My dad included. My dad. They don't even know. They don't know what's going on with the credit card. They don't even know about the credit card. We don't know.
While we're on that topic, the U.S.'s terrorist watch list was exposed with 2 million people on it.
Are we on it? Did you control F for us?
I did not control F. But we're probably on many lists.
I'm definitely.
This is the no-fly list, so I know I'm not on the no-fly list because I fly. That was first name, last name, citizenship, gender, date of birth, passport ID, country of issuance of your passport. Probably a picture, I don't know. 2 million people of the government's watch list got leaked. And it didn't get leaked on an American server. It was on it was a foreign government that we shared it with. I forget which government. I think it was like Bahrain or some shit. But don't hold me to that.
What are we doing? We're a wayward society. We need to fix this shit, man. There's everything, everywhere you look. Maybe it's the pessimists. Maybe we're just some form of confirmation bias where we're seeking out this negative information and bringing it to the world, or maybe it is just a world awash with shit and terrible policies that we just it's literally insane. I think that's why I get so heated. It's literally insane. You do more and more, here's a breach, 100 million, 100 million here, 100 million there. You know what? Let's collect more data. We've only proven that we're completely incompetent in securing this data, but let's just do more. Let's add to the travel rule. Let's add to the FATF guidelines. Let's just collect more and more. It's literally the definition of insanity. And you know me, your Uncle Marty hates logical inconsistencies, and I think the logical inconsistencies are piling up to such a point where it's driving me crazy. Am I the only one?
You're not. Binance just hired a former IRS official.
Sure they did.
For regulatory compliance.
What are they going to do? Like, they're going to be issuing 1099s now? If they haven't already?
Do. We're not 1099s, but they what's the other one?
W2?
Yeah, W2s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what a brokerage gives you?
I thought they give you 1099s.
I don't know.
I think it's 1099s. Because that's like the whole thing with the infrastructure bill, like expecting miners to hand out 1099s. Everybody sends a transaction in a block. Like, God, these people are so fucking stupid. They don't
1099 is for income.
Yes. So you can have income on trading, right?
That's what it's a different doc.
You can get 1099 from Robinhood too, right?
Someone's saying 1099. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the consolidated. Yeah, I think it's a 1099. Okay. W4, I don't fucking know. There's a lot of documents.
W4 is like what
W2 is for wage earners. 1099, W2 is from your work income. I don't. But if you're a contractor, you get paid with the 1099.
Yeah. It's the same thing with like exchanges and shit like that. Just like income.
By the way, this isn't not a stream of thought. This is reading off the live chat to the freaks listening in the audio feed. Regardless, they give you some kind. I assume Binance gives you some kind of tax documentation already. But this is just to bring in someone who is a past bureaucrat to help with their compliance and spying on their users more.
Hey, Narwhal Tacos in the chat. Like, I hope this is true. Word on the tax prepper street is the IRS is on the verge of collapse. Overworked, underpaid, too many changes, overwhelmed with complaints and issues. Good. Keep complaining. Keep sending in issues. Where are our tax dollars going? It's $2 trillion in tax dollars. It's given to military contractors to run rampant in Afghanistan for 20 years with literally nothing to show for it but a complete embarrassment.
Do you ever see the Cardi B video?
No, I do not watch Cardi B.
No,
videos.
The Cardi B video when she first and she was complaining about taxes.
Yeah, right.
Legendary video.
Yeah, I wonder what AOC thinks of that. She's with her sister there. Unchained Capital sponsoring Mempool, incredible project that we love, and they're implementing their fee estimation software into the Caravan and their product as well. So they're sponsoring Mempool and then implementing it into their stack as well. Unchained, incredible company, incredible team. Austin BitDevs Meetup tonight at Unchained's offices. If you're in Austin, you want to go. Yeah, I think you might have to sign up on like meetup.com.
But see, like, this is what I love about open source, right? Is Unchained has their Caravan product, which is an open source, free open source software stack that you can use to do your own multi-sig without them if you want. And they share that back to the community, right? And then they offer their more proprietary product, right? Which is the collaborative custody, which by design, I mean, they're holding one key. And then they need to put fee estimation in. So instead of reinventing the wheel, they go to a very awesome open source project that we love. I use Mempool all the time. I have it both on my own node and the mempool.space instance where you can look at their mempool data. And they're taking that fee estimation, putting it into their product so their users have better fee estimation. And then on top of that, instead of going out and paying a company to basically do that, they're taking it upon themselves to also sponsor and provide monthly donations to the maintenance of that project. That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. That is, open source at its finest.
Exactly. It's an incredible example of how you give back to an open source project that provides utility to you. But you need, hey, if you're going to build this stuff out, you need dev financing in the block rewards, Matt. There's no way to fund devs.
That's why we need BIP 300 so that we can put dev financing in. I don't.
Right? It's happening, freaks. It's happening. So shout out to the Unchained team. Obviously, we love them. Disclaimer sponsor the pod.
I was like, I might be being a little bit of a dick about BIP 300. Like, I love Paul. We should probably get him back on the show. Now that there's so much hype around BIP 300, we should get him back on the show and have him say his piece. Like, he's a great dude. I love what he's done for Bitcoin, and I would love to hear his show.
I would too. Paul's written some of the most incredible content on proof of work, proof of stake, the cost of both too. It's some of my favorite blog posts to share for people who really want to get in the nitty gritty debate on proof of work and proof of stake and the different sort of costs that go into those. He would argue that proof of stake is just as, if not more expensive than proof of work. And proof of stake fans will be like, you can get the same security for a cheaper amount, but no, you just.
And his last name is pronounced Stork.
Sports. Paul Sports. Okay. Nah, I think it's Storks. It's not.
Okay, so I was right. Fuck you.
I know, but that's like the running joke. Nobody knows how to pronounce his last name, so like back in the day, people were just like Paul Sports. We're gonna run through. Stop me in software updates if you have anything pressing. I'm just gonna run through. Mempool version 2.2.1 has been released. If you're using that on your own device and you want to upgrade, think about it. Join Market version 0.9.1 has been released. Join Box version 0.6.0 has been released. I assume it's a major release since it's 6.0. Open Noms do anything special here?
Oh, Join Box?
Yeah.
It's the first major release of Join Box that includes fidelity bonds, which are completely appreciated addition to Join Market. Really cool addition. Makes Join Market way more Sybil resistant.
Hell yeah. Next Bitcoin version 0.0.49 has been released. Zap Desktop version 0.7.4 beta has been released. Zap, I just read that one. Rust Lightning version 0.0.100 has been released. Is this a major release still, or no? They were at 99. So,
like, fuck that naming scheme. V 0.0.100.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They now so Rust Lightning now supports keysend. So it's pretty big.
Problem with keysend is there's no receipts.
No receipts, baby. Simple Bitcoin wallet version 2.0.2. I've never heard this.
This is the first wallet to support the mobile first focused Lightning implementation, Immortan, which we've talked about previously on the show, which is designed from the ground up for mobile full Lightning nodes. And I was playing around with it before we went live. The interface is nice and simple, but also really power user friendly. And supposedly you can actually route payments on your mobile routing node. I have not been able to test out that aspect. But I opened a channel. You can just open a channel to any node you want, and it feels like the start of something big. I wish they didn't call it Simple Bitcoin Wallet, because I don't know. Like, what do you want me to show it, or like what am I supposed to be like in the middle of a show or something like, oh, you should download Simple Bitcoin Wallet? Like, what the fuck am I talking about? It does not sound like a unique. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, but give me something unique that's not spelled wrong as well. Moon Wallet. And I'll be able to shill it better.
Hey, anybody out there building, take this into consideration. Marketing.
Just something that's easy to remember, easy to spell, easy to say. That doesn't
use good word.
Just say Bitcoin Wallet. There's a million scammy wallets on the app stores that are called Bitcoin Wallet or simple. There's even some that are probably already called Simple Bitcoin Wallet.
Yeah. I'm just now realizing I haven't eaten breakfast, or this is literally the first liquid I've had all day, which is Corona and coffee. The first.
I have a burrito with my name on it.
Ooh. Tienes gusta.
By the way, to the freaks listening that don't know what Moon Wallet is, it's spelled with 2 U's.
Yes.
Highly recommend.
My Spanish is best when I'm ordering burritos. Hola, Tony. ¿Puede tener un burrito de carne asada con todo y apaños, por favor, para your bar? Where we at? Blockstream launches new mining service targeting stranded renewable energy.
How do you feel about this, Marty?
I mean, I already retweeted Steve Barber's.
What did Steve Barber say?
I mean, it's just like there was LARPing about green energy and all that, and it's just like bullshit. And like with the stranded green energy, like stranded nat, like they sort of threw a wrench at fossil fuels. And
so like the focus is, it seems like the focus is putting basically shipping container-esque mobile mining units next to remote solar operations, right?
Yeah. So
rather than like Great American Mining, which does waste natural gas, this is with solar, right?
Yes. Oh no. Oh, got hit with a raindrop. That's why. Yeah. I mean, I love the Blockstream team. I don't like the virtue signaling about green energy and throwing a bone or throwing a wrench at fossil fuels, and then if the container looks like it it does in the picture, I would say I'm very interested to see how the heat density and airflow in that container actually works and whether or not it's sustainable for long periods of time. But I'm not here to throw bones. Obviously, I've my own horse in that race, so I'm not here to talk bad about competitors. I
would say on a positive note that I think I love this idea of the mobile mining units, especially in remote areas. And I want to see more of that.
I agree. Pushing it forward. Yeah, I'm happy for Blockstream. I love Blockstream. Love everybody there. Where are we at? Now it's like really bright and I can't read my screen.
The founder of Helix Mixer he pleaded guilty, forfeited 4,400 Bitcoin, which is like $200 million.
Who's that going to? The marshals or?
I assume so. I don't even fucking know. And that doesn't even include the fine. He's going to have to pay an additional fine that could be up to 2 times what the amount of money that was involved in the transaction, which is he pleaded guilty to mixing over 350,000 Bitcoin. And at time of the transactions, I think they said it was $300 million. So like they completely, like the dude's absolutely wrecked. So he lost his 4,400 Bitcoin. He might get fined up to, I guess, $600 million by reading the government's press release. I linked the archive link so you don't click the justice.gov link about
Thank you for
laundering.
That. Appreciate that.
And he faces 20 years in jail. It's important to realize that he was operating a custodial mixer, which was probably one of the main ways of using Bitcoin privately before we had these better developed CoinJoin tools. And with a custodial mixer, you send in Bitcoin, the operator takes custody of your Bitcoin and sends you new Bitcoin. And the U.S. government and other governments have been pretty active in saying that's illegal and going after operators. He was in Ohio when they got him. He was operating that wallet. What was that wallet that he was operating as well? It had custodial. What was it?
BitDrop or something like that.
Drop it.
There it was.
And we, sentencing hasn't happened yet. I assume because he pleaded guilty. They're going to be more lenient on him, I would hope.
Yeah.
And but just in general, like supposedly they said that he worked directly with darknet markets. It doesn't seem like they're going after users of the service. They're just going after the operator for whatever that's worth.
Didn't he have like ads on Alphabet or something like that?
I don't know which darknet market, but yeah, I mean, obviously I don't think a nonviolent crime should have, a $200 million penalty plus a potential $600 million penalty plus 20 years in law and in jail is absolutely insane. Like how does that logically make any sense whatsoever? So it's a shame to see that. But I wanted to be very clear here because it's going to get conflated that with CoinJoin, no third party takes custody of your funds. It's a Bitcoin send transaction. It's a collaborative Bitcoin send transaction. You're sending Bitcoin with a group of other people. No one ever takes custody of your funds, and you're doing it in a privacy preserving manner with privacy best practices taken into account. With a custodial mixer, you are sending funds to an operator and they're sending you back different funds.
Yes.
Wholly different. And that is why I push back when people call CoinJoin mixing. I think it's important that we make it clear that these are two wholly different things. One is sending Bitcoin with privacy best practices, and the other is using a third-party service to try and obfuscate what is seen on chain.
Agreed. Two different things. Very important distinctions to make. Coin joining is a transaction type, but yeah, government. Long dick of the government will get you at the end of the day if you're doing these centralized mixing services. So I wish the drop it owner well. Nonviolent crime again. They're raping him 3 ways with these fines and the sentence possibility. We got to wrap up quick here. I'm sorry, Matt. I know I'm all over the place today. Robinhood revenue.
40% was cryptocurrencies. Crypto.
62% was Doge.
62% of the crypto portion was Doge. So that's about 20% of their total revenue was Doge trading. I posted a screenshot of what it looks like when a person goes onto Robinhood into the crypto tab. And it's like Dogecoin, Litecoin, BSV, Bcash. It's Bitcoin, not even Ethereum is on the front page.
Yeah.
And you can't withdraw any of your coins on that platform still. So they're not your coins, not your keys, not your coins. Yeah. So they're one of the most malicious entities in the space. And they're very much, I mean, if 40% of their revenue is already crypto, quote unquote crypto, they might as well be a cryptocurrency company at this point, right? And I would say that they're probably one of the most malicious actors in the space. It's whenever I have a friend reach out to me asking how they can withdraw their Bitcoin from Robinhood, it becomes completely apparent how bad the scam is.
Yeah. Fuck Robinhood. Don't ever buy Bitcoin on Robinhood. You're not actually buying Bitcoin. You're just buying paper exposure. Speaking of Ethereum and Dogecoin, Vitalik and Elon Musk join the Doge Foundation board. Who cares? I don't care. Do you care?
I don't know. Gladstein wanted our opinion on it, so I put it in. Otherwise, it wouldn't be on the list.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, love Gladstein.
Yeah, they're virtue signaling. They're losers. Elon Musk and Vitalik are losers.
So to be, I made the list item simple, but technically Elon is not on the board. He has his lawyer is on the board, but he speaks for Elon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, and no one joins the Dogecoin board in good faith.
Yeah,
like actions speak louder than words.
Here's too, like they're doing it to piss people off. Don't let it get under your skin. Just ignore it. Again, Bitcoin won the energy game. Energy is the base layer of all these things. If they want to be successful, Bitcoin has won that, bar none. It's all noise. Like I tweeted out.
The relevant part, Marty, is that they're already saying like the narrative is they want to help Dogecoin evolve to a place that Bitcoin can't ever wish to evolve because Bitcoin doesn't change.
Yeah, well,
so it's already being used as like basically it's like a proxy war. You know, like Vitalik is. I won't speak for Musk. I think he's just a lost child. I don't really know what the fuck he's doing. But Vitalik is 100% on that board as a proxy war against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's like
Are you worried about
Answer
Vitalik,
that.
the dude that picks his nose and
No,
rubs
I'm
it
not.
on the
I'm
wall?
just saying that's why he joined the board.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
very transparent. That's why he joined the board.
I'm a big believer in physiognomy, and you just look at him. He's a pick and like he's a scammer, selling quantum computers before ETH. Like he's not that smart. I don't think. I think he's just a huge con artist. He's a good marketer. Good marketer. He can say big words. He can think cerebrally about theoretical crypto economic systems and make people believe that we're on the edge of a technological revolution. He's Elizabeth. What? Not. I was going to say Elizabeth Stark. Not Elizabeth Stark. Elizabeth Holmes of the cryptocurrency industry. Matthew, it's getting hot up here. I'm afraid my laptop's going to burn out. I've got to go to a coffee meeting in a half hour. 2 beers deep, no food in my stomach. I'm supposed to be wearing a suit to this. As you can see, I'm in a t-shirt and a
Did
surfing.
you bring a suit with you?
I did. I had my Gucci
You got the
loafs.
first step down.
I had my Gucci loafs and a jacket, and my wife, I had it in her bag on the way here. She was like, do you want these? Like, you're not gonna be able to fit them in your bag. And I was like, you know what? It's probably not gonna be necessary. Like, I'm just going to this coffee meetup and a dinner and maybe some events after. And then I get to the hotel, which is basically right across the street from the convention center where the oil and gas conference is, and literally everybody's in full suit. And I'm like,
Classic oil and gas.
Classic oil and
It ain't
gas.
Bitcoin.
I'm the Bitcoin.
Well, I love you, Marty. I love you, freaks. Thank you for joining us for another Rabbit Hole recap. Good luck in Houston. Enjoy yourself. And I look forward to seeing you in Dallas for BitBlock Boom next week.
Cannot wait, brother. I cannot wait. It's going to be a fun rip. It's going to be a fun week. I love all y'all. Peace and love.
Cheers.
All right, live stream. You get some extra alpha here. God. We got to fix the world. Just keep spreading Bitcoin.
We stopped recording on the podcast feed.
Yeah, so you guys get some extra. I'm not going to show Nip here. It's interesting. There's some interesting clientele at this hotel I'm at.
Just
now we get some
stay humble, stack sats, use your own node, hold your own keys, learn about privacy best practices, expect the worst, hope for the best.
And stand up. Speak out against these atrocities. Call out your ratting neighbors, your snitching neighbors, the people who don't think they are but are basically becoming the Nazis of the modern day. Call them out. Say, we're not doing this again. We're going to learn from history. We have the technology to communicate and recognize that we're repeating steps that were made from history that led to mass atrocities. Like, we're on the road to genocide unless people stand up, speak out, and call this shit out. Like, we have the ability to communicate. We're getting this out to tens of thousands of people via this show right now. That wasn't possible back in Nazi Germany. Now that we have this ability to do it today, I think it's imperative that we use this technology that we have and we spread this message to prevent another genocidal. And that's the scary thing about this thing. It's global. It's happening all over the place. Like, we need to stand up as a collective human race and call this out. It's happening all over the world. Shout out to Africa and South America for not falling into this. Like, outside of those two continents, like, this shit's not like getting crazy.
I don't know, South Africa's fucked.
Yeah, so South Africa's fucked because they're like westernized. But yeah, the Western world is going through some shit right now. Speak out against it. I love you guys. I gotta go.